huge return on investment from a public sector perspective. But that's not really the perspective we're here to celebrate today. It works for businesses. So if you think about it, registered apprenticeship is private sector workforce development in partnership with government. Right? And this is why it works so well. The government serves the role as being the validator of the program standards. We create transferability, portability of the credentials across the country. If I became a carpenter in California, which I did, when I moved to Rhode Island, I didn't have to prove I knew my occupation. I went right to work. Right? And that's the beauty of the system. But it's the private sector employer who's driving this system. Right? The employers do it not out of, yes, out of the goodness of their heart too, but this isn't a charity endeavor, right? This is about predictable talent development to meet your needs in your workforce model, whatever your business happens to be. If an occupation takes more than a year to master, you can create an apprenticeship program for it, which makes sense because that broadens your talent pool. All right. That broadens your talent pool because all of a sudden, the entry-level qualifications are lower. All right, I don't trust it. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Oh, was it? Stay close to the mic. Stay close to the mic. I was hoping I'd get rid of it. I don't like mics in my face. It's like cameras, right? Cameras, they always make me nervous for some reason. But here's the important part. It is an investment in your workforce talent development strategy. Because all of a sudden you have a broader pool of applicants to choose from. You say, you know less, so I'm going to pay you less. But if you learn this and you demonstrate it to me, I will pay you more. Rinse and repeat until you get exactly the professional you are looking for. That makes sense from a business. Quick story. When I used to do more national apprenticeship work than I do now, I was in the Swiss embassy of all places, right? Strange. And they looked at the American apprenticeship system like we had 9 heads. Like we do not understand. 70% of everyone in our country goes through our apprenticeship system. And your businesses look at it like it's a cost instead of an investment. And they showed me the charts, they showed me the data that showed if you invest in your employees, here's your return in just a few short years. We're looking at these programs on the wrong side of the ledger. Right, so I've always carried that with me, and we have a great business perspective here today. We have an exceptional panel that's going to come up in a moment, moderated by our very own Chief Apprenticeship Expansion Officer, Shelby Mack. We have a great lineup to help tease out the perspectives that you need to know about if you're a business considering apprenticeship. And we encourage you to listen well, think about your questions, and ask them. But before we get to the panel, apprenticeship at its core involves collaboration. So first it's a collaboration between the apprentice and the sponsoring employer who says, you know what, I believe in you. If you demonstrate these skills to me, you have a path to advancement within our company. From that core, it extends out to government. So I can't help but acknowledge all of our friends from the Department of Labor and Training who are here. There's a lot of them. Raise your hands, Department of Labor and Training. Friends of the Department of Labor and Training, we wouldn't have that third-party validator. And Building Futures partners with the Department of Labor and Training, and we launched together the Apprenticeship Rhode Island Initiative, which has expanded this system over the past 11 years tremendously. We couldn't do it without them. So thank you, Department of Labor and Training. Very much appreciate it. And I have members of my own board and my advisory committee. Since he's standing, I get to call him out. Greg Mancini is the chair of our board. Thank you very much, Greg, for being here. We have incredible advice that we receive from the industry. We have members of the Building Futures Advisory Council here. They help guide all of our efforts in the construction sector and beyond, so I just wanted to thank them. Advisory Committee, all you members, thank you very much for everything you do for us. And let's not forget, I think there might be some Building Futures staff here as well. Building Futures staff, can you raise your hands? To know who you need to talk to when you hear about the great things we can do together in partnership. Right? When you have a question afterwards and you say, you know what, I want to move on that, please find one of the people who raised their hands. Engage with us more. Because we raise grant dollars to make sure that we can do everything we do in partnership with government for free to you as an employer. So with that, I would like to invite the panel up, and Shelby Mack, could you help join and welcome the panel? Panelists, would you come on up?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Can you all hear me okay? Yes. Amazing. Before I let Andrew off the hook entirely, it is not an exaggeration to say that none of us would be in this room having this conversation without Andrew.
That's not me.
Without Andrew. Without the staff, without the board. So I just want to ask us to give them another round of applause. And I am so excited and honored to introduce our panel today. These folks really represent core businesses that are on the leading edge of registered apprenticeship practice in Rhode Island. When we prepare for National Apprenticeship Week, we really ask ourselves, what are the industries where registered apprenticeship is most needed? And there's no shortage there, right? Registered apprenticeship makes sense as a talent development strategy in so many industries. But we also ask ourselves, where is Rhode Island leading in registered apprenticeship? Where are we leading the nation? And in construction, we are national leaders in the innovative practices that we have built around registered apprenticeship. And these folks from these 4 businesses represent that excellence, and we're so proud to really represent that to you all today. So without further ado, I am going to introduce these folks. From Dimeo Construction, we have Damian Carini and Ayani Gomes. Damian Carini is the Manager of Innovation and Team Development at Dimeo Construction, where he leads the retention, training, and development of operations personnel, overseeing programs that support career growth, succession planning, and apprenticeship initiatives. He drives innovation across operational processes and project workflows, introducing new technologies and efficiencies while ensuring teams are trained to leverage them effectively. Damian guides onboarding, mentorship, and ongoing professional development, helping project teams build skills and advance their careers through structured training, career pathing, and performance evaluations. Welcome, Damian.
Thank you.
Ayani Gomes is an assistant project engineer apprentice at Dimeo Construction, where she works to ensure projects are completed on time, within budget, and according to specifications. Ayani is a national leader in youth advocacy, having served on the National Youth Employment Coalition's Youth Advisory Council and Youth Build USA's Conference of Young Leaders. She is a graduate of Youth Build Boston, a pre-apprenticeship program preparing young people to enter the building trades. Upon graduating, she worked for Youth Build Boston as a program coordinator. Please welcome Ayani. And from Degree Engineering, we have Mary Rigo. Mary is the Director of Human Resources at Degree Engineering, where she leads people strategy and organizational development initiatives. She is also the founder of Disrupt HR Rhode Island, a platform dedicated to challenging traditional HR thinking and fostering innovation in the field. Mary also serves on the board of Rhode Island SHRM, contributing to the advancement of the HR profession across the state. Her work reflects a strong commitment to modernizing HR practices and building engaging, people-focused workplaces. Thank you, Mary. From Gilbane Building Company, we have Mike Bessem. Mike is Vice President and Rhode Island Business Unit Leader for Gilbane Building Company, where he is responsible for driving consistency and excellence across operations in Rhode Island, overseeing all local projects and employees. Mike has served at Gilbane for over 20 years as Providence Office Operations Manager and Project Executive, among other roles. Mike is a dedicated contributor to communities and to the construction industry, including as a member of the Associated General Contractors and Young Contractors Forum, as a mentor with ACE Mentor Program, and as an advisory council member with Building Futures. Welcome, Mike. And last but very much not least, we have Benicia Kingston. Benicia is the owner of Eagle Eye Construction LLC, a commercial construction labor staffing company specializing in selective demolition, general conditions, and final cleanup. Benicia is an 11-year journeywoman with Local 271 Laborers Union. In 2018, she founded Eagle Eye, and in 2019, they were awarded their first union contract on the East Providence High School. In 2020, Eagle Eye became WMBE certified in the state of Rhode Island. Benicia is an alumna of Building Future's pre-apprenticeship program. She is a founder of the Rhode Island Building and Construction Trades Women's Council and Drug and Prison Prevention Program, and she is a board member at Building Futures. Welcome, Benicia. So you all can see, we have the right experts around this table to have this conversation, and we have so much to get into. I'm going to dive right in. We're going to have about half an hour of conversation, and then we'll have about 10 minutes for Q&A. So please, if something speaks to you, if you have a question you want to really dig into, if you have a hard question that you want to grill these panelists with, please hang on to it, and we'll have some time for it at the end. So I really want to start with the why here. So the purpose of implementing these innovative apprenticeship practices here in Rhode Island, and I really want to ask each of you to tell me a little bit about your apprenticeship program model and what was the business problem that you really were seeking to address with it. And I'm going to start with Davey and Ayani, and I really want to ask you both to talk a little bit about why did Dimeo take this apprenticeship model, which is very well known, used for many, many years in the building trades, and actually bring it in-house as a construction management talent development strategy. So Damien, if you could start by telling us about that and why you did it, and then Ayani, I'll ask you to talk about the apprentice perspective.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming out this morning. So our apprenticeship program had its roots in an event much like this with Building Futures. We were sitting around the table, chatting with a big group of Building Futures folks, and they had a need where they had a good amount of folks that were going through their program in the building trades, getting to the end of the program and not seeing a fit for them. They wanted to be in construction, they wanted to be in the industry, but none of the trades were really their vision of their future career. So from that discussion, a little bit of a light bulb went off, and hey, we're in construction, but we're not out in the field, we're not pulling, Romax or EMT or, shelling out on a nice 24-inch blizzard day. So what if we kind of thought outside the box and created this, CM apprenticeship program? This became a big collaboration between Dimeo Construction and Building Futures to develop this program, just to give folks that go through pre-apprenticeship programs that want to be in the industry, but not necessarily want to be in the trades. So far it's been a great resource for the company. Our program is a 3-year program. It totals about 6,000 hours of on-the-job training with 450 hours of related training such as CPR, OSHA 30, all that kind of stuff. At the end of the program, our apprentices actually have more certifications and licenses than some of our senior PMs, which is kind of a great place to be upon entering the career fields. So from that, we basically are given an opportunity for folks that may not have, growing up, known about construction management, gone to college, had that opportunity. In working with all the pre-apprenticeship programs in the region, we've definitely developed a great program, and we're going to recruit from all the best pre-apprenticeship programs in the area, such as Youth Build, where Ayani comes from, Building Futures, Building Pathways, and we started off in Rhode Island, and our program has since expanded into Massachusetts and now Connecticut with the hiring of our first 2 apprentices down in the Connecticut region. So it's been a great success, and definitely want to thank Building Futures for collaborating with us to pull this program together.
Thank you so much. And Ayani, could you chime in a little bit? What has your experience been like as an apprentice? And how has it equipped you to contribute as an employee to Demio?
I just want to say thank you guys for having me here today. I'm very grateful for the apprenticeship program. I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot as a person as well. And it enabled me to like just be able to push myself and do more things that I never felt comfortable with doing. So like, I used to struggle with public speaking. And so just being able to be here today, I feel less nervous. I feel less nervous than I would before, but that's because just the resources that Demio has given me. I've been able to like help run meetings. I've been able to communicate and build relationships with different people who don't come from the same background as me or are a little older than me. And I've just been able to just push myself to just, because I feel like I have no choice, you know, they gave me an opportunity, so, and I'm willing to learn. This is something I really want to pursue as my career. And when I first started, I thought I had to get into the trades, but I always wanted to be like a construction manager. And so that's when my boss at Boston, he ended up introducing me to Demio. And it just allowed me to grow so much. I've learned patience. I learned to just ask questions. No dumb question. No question is a dumb question. And to just be able to learn and to take in the knowledge. Like, I don't know everything. And it's okay to not know everything, you know? So, and it just allowed me to be more patient with myself. And I learned how to be more on time. I learned a lot how to grow as a person and just to just be willing to push myself out there. Because I've always been really shy and scared to talk, but it definitely helps me a lot.
Amazing, thank you. Yeah, there's a couple things there that I want to come back to, but I think for now we'll keep moving on down the line. Mary, so Degree Engineering has, similar to Demio, actually built an in-house apprenticeship program in survey. So I would love for you to talk a little bit about what that looks like in survey and kind of what were the business problems that you all were seeking to address with the program.
Thank you again for having me. And I just want to say, I want to give it up to the two ladies that are up here and all the women that are in this room right now in construction. I think it's really great to thank you. So I think the reason the business case really came down to, we have our staff who is about 5 to 10 years away from retirement. And my grandfather always said, it's not what you can do with your hands, it's what you can do with your head. And we really saw an opportunity for us to dig in and say, well, what can we do differently? Recruiting's not going to work, traditional methods, and we have a really hungry staff that wants to teach. Also, I think there's a lack of understanding about how important survey is in the construction industry. People forget that you need maps, right? And people forget that you need to understand where to put those buildings, so you need us. And there was no opportunity in the state that we could see where that knowledge of why construction firms needed to partner with surveying folks. And so we took that opportunity and really partnered with our folks, Bob and Dan and Len, who are here from Decree, and really got their knowledge and understanding. So that was our business case. And I think, going back to what Andrew said, this is an opportunity not only to give back to our community and really grow the next generation, because, you know, I'm getting old. I'm sure a lot of folks' knees are starting to hurt, right? We need that next generation in, but it's also a way for small businesses, you know, like Eagle Eye over here, who can kind of expand inside and say to themselves, where is there opportunity for me to grow business? So it's a win-win for everybody, and I think that's the main reason why we did it.
Yeah, thanks so much for that. I want to come back to that idea of apprenticeship as a business expansion strategy. I think that's a powerful topic to really hit on. But before we do that, I want to just close out with Benicia and Mike. So just looking at the broader industry lens, so Gilbane has done something really unique, right? They have actually made a company commitment to every business that works with them should employ apprentices at a certain level. So I want to ask Mike, why did you make that decision? What was the business reason for doing so? And then I'll ask Benicia to speak to what does that mean as a subcontractor and how does that kind of level the playing field for you? So start with you, Mike.
Yeah. So the Gilbane model is different than Demio's and Depreet's, which I actually think are absolutely fantastic. But for Gilbane in 2014, we saw that the industry was aging out. The current workforce was getting to the point where it was 1 in 5 workers that were over the age of 55. And we needed to attract the next generation into it. And Gilbane doesn't have an impact on how to bring people into the workforce, but Building Futures does. And so it was an easy partnership for us, and really an imperative that was started by my predecessor, John Sinnott, and something easy for me to continue on as an organization. And I see so many of my colleagues here from other firms, that's something that we all benefit from right now because we are seeing the workforce continue to grow. And through a training program that allows for a consistency to come out into to our workforce, to our job sites, so we know that the job can be done safely with great productivity. There's one other stat that I would offer that I think is a huge benefit to why you would all want to do this and why it was so easy for Gilbane to do. 1% of the cost for labor is put into training that has a return for you all of 11% increased productivity, 26% less chance of someone getting hurt, and 23% less likelihood of having to do any rework. So again, to us, it was a no-brainer. It was something that we do on all of our public or private jobs. This isn't just a mandate from the cities and towns that we work in or on the PLAs that we have obviously signed on with, but it's also with those in the private industry that we have it on any one of our projects to have 15% of all the hours worked to be done by apprentices.
Thank you, Mike. Benicia, do you want to chime in? What is Gilbane's commitment meant to you as a subcontractor? How does apprenticeship benefit your business?
Thank you all for having me. So partnering with companies like Gilbane and working with Building Futures, it makes it a lot easier for me to get young folks on the job and provide opportunities. I'm a product of apprenticeship. I'm a graduate of this program, so I know that apprenticeship works. I know if given the right opportunity that individuals can succeed. So I take a lot of pride in now being on the other side of the table and being able to provide these opportunities to young folks. As a business person now, the cost saving, one of the things that Mike spoke on, that's a big benefit when it comes to me to bidding out packages. So I always make sure that if I'm bidding out packages with manpower, that I try to include an apprentice in that, and I've been given the advantage by utilizing apprenticeship. Another thing that I take pride in is training up. So having a young folk come in that is an apprentice and eventually turning them into a foreman, which is something that I've been able to do on the Johnston project. This individual has done so well, it's led to other projects. So apprenticeship is a strong, valuable tool if used properly. It can also reset the culture of our industry, right? Getting these young folks in who believe that construction is just about getting dirty, working extremely hard, abusing their bodies, and really don't understand the pride that can come with doing a good hard days of work and being a part of a project. So within my business, I can just say that we're resetting the culture of what the norm is within the industry. I've brought in a lot of young women who are doing really well. I've brought in a lot of young men from the communities where these projects are taking place. So there's a certain pride that comes with that. When I was an apprentice, Freddie Pilk over there was my foreman. I did my apprenticeship on the Pawtucket Bridge. I still ride over that bridge, and there's a sense of pride that comes with that. And again, the future of the industry. Guys, the industry doesn't look the same. It's changing, and we have to embrace the change, and we have to change with it. That comes from embracing young people, bringing them in, training them properly, getting them on the right projects, teaching them the right culture. This is how we shift this whole thing. So it doesn't look like what it used to look like, and we have to be able to embrace that. And this is the future of the industry.
Wow, thank you all so much. I am feeling like already moved, and also like we don't have enough time to really dig into all this, but we're going to do our best. I really want to just double click on this question of business impacts of apprenticeship, and you all just started to speak to all of them in your answers. And I want to start with you, Mary. You talked about two things that I think are really powerful here. One is around apprenticeship as a business expansion strategy, and then also culture change, which many of you all spoke to, but that when we shift our cultures to be around learning, there's retention benefits, there's recruitment benefits. So Mary, I wonder if you could speak to both of those things, and then I welcome anybody else to just jump in on that.
You should want to say it does work, because my husband is a product of an apprenticeship program, and if it wasn't for it, he wouldn't be where he is. So it's people like you who I really appreciate, who acknowledge the change, because it does take a lot. And I want to talk about the culture piece first, because I think a lot of us in the room need to look internally to our teams and say to ourselves, who's about to retire in the next 5 to 10 years? You can't do it 1 year before a person's going to be retiring. You need to look at it 5 to 10 years out. That's what we did. The culture shift really came for us is because I'm going to go back to what my grandfather said. It's not what you can do with your hands, it's what you can do between your 2 ears. And what he meant by that is essentially you need to be able to kind of transition out. The folks, Dan Burdick, who is one of our professional surveyors over here and who has worked in the field for many, many years, has trained the next generation. I am sure Dan wants to get out the field at some point, and I'm sure Bob is very happy to have someone who's willing to train. And the shift that I see in culture is, one, happier workforce. I'm not the math person, I'm the fuzzy warrant person here, right? So I would say people like to come to their jobs, they're more engaged, they're more willing to bring up issues and come from the perspective of how can I make this better, versus going home and being frustrated that there's not an opportunity for them. So from that, culture shift restored. And then in addition to the other question, for us of carving another next business path out, we need to be able to keep our business going. That needs to happen with the next generation. If somebody has a stake in it and they have a hand in it, like Misha was saying, then it makes it a lot more valuable for them to want to continue and for retention purposes. So if you think about it from that, not only are you taking the knowledge from the folks who have been there for many years, you're transferring it over, but then you're saying you're engaging your workforce to want to continue that. And I think it's important for all of us to understand that we need to transfer that if you want your businesses to keep growing. They can't grow if you don't actually grow the people within it. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, just to add what Mary said, at Divio we use our apprenticeship program as a way to plan for our succession. We get a long-term succession plan, and we use in both our apprenticeship program and our internship program from all the colleges to grow our group within the company so that we are going to have very strong leaders in the future as the leadership team starts to age out. By doing this, we're creating a much more diverse, more females, a lot more females now, a lot more people of color within the industry, and they just have different thoughts, different backgrounds, and all that comes together to really help and aid the company as we move into the next, we're coming up on our 100 years, for our next 100 years and working in Rhode Island and beyond.
Thanks, Damien. Yeah, I think that that point around we're in a workforce crisis as an industry, right? You all have papers in front of you that say 24,000 job openings in the next 10 years. If we're only drawing on a small portion of the population to fill those needs, we're never going to get there, right? So apprenticeship can be this powerful diversity strategy. And Mike and Benicia, I wonder if you want to chime in. You already actually spoke to a bunch of this. I think both of you spoke to just the cost savings around apprenticeship and the safety piece, but I wonder if you want to elaborate on that at all.
I did speak to the benefits, and I think we've hit on the culture aspect of it. The recruitment into the construction industry isn't just now through the family, right? Well, my grandfather was this, my father was that, my uncle and everyone else, right? So now it's about getting out into the community, finding folks, I think Damien said it on our prep call for this, but getting into the middle schools and getting into the high schools and showing the ability to come over into the trades, and what a great career this can be. I think everybody can feel really good. There's a Washington Post article that came out just recently, and actually it's a search tab, and you can write in your career and see if AI is going to take it over. It can either be really alarming or it can make you feel really good. Well, I can tell you the construction trades is really solid. It's safe. It's where a great investment in our future and for these younger folks and coming up in these generations would have an amazing career and one that's protected from what can be taken away by AI. There are other careers, other folks in this room, you may need to look going into the trades because in a few years our positions could go away.
For me, my thought process is kind of like what Mike said. The generational is, I don't think that's happening much anymore. And we have to be really intentional and really think outside the box when we're planning projects and we're thinking about apprenticeship and having young folks on the job and what that looks like. One of the things that I like to focus on with my apprentice and with new people that join the company is making sure that they feel like they're a part of something, right? I think that's very important. That was one of the things that was very stressful for me when I was a laborer out in the field. And part of why I started Eagle Eye is because I wanted to feel like I was a part of a team and really a part of something important and not just a body on the job there to perform a service, and when that job is over, we're on to the next thing. So within Eagle Eye, I intentionally do training exercises. I try to get us together as a group just to let them know that they are a part of something. They're not just a body on a job. They're a part of a growing business. And it seems to work. A lot of my employees stress that they want to work for me. That is what I want to hear. I love that they want to work for Eagle Eye. They want to be there. They don't like the idea that they may have to go back to the bench if I don't have another project for them. And they let me know, hey, as soon as you get something, call me, I'm coming back. So that's what I'm building. Those are the types of people that I want working for my company that believe in what we're doing and believe in where we're headed and want to be a part of something. So that comes from apprenticeship. That's a great way to build that because you have young, fresh minds who are eager and again, just want to be a part of something.
Yeah, I think, that makes me think that, that retention that Benicia is building through her culture, that's retention for her company, right? But it's also retention for the industry. Those are people who are going to finish their apprenticeships, right? And they are going to be able to be productive employees for the next 10 years or however, 20 years, 30 years maybe, So I think that really speaks to the power of what it looks like when you show up every single day on the job and you invest in a culture that supports people to retain. And I know you wanted to go.
Yeah, I just wanted to speak from an apprentice point of view. I've been lucky enough to come across people who are willing to pass down their knowledge. And I've been learning about project management. I've been learning about superintendent work and about safety. And I was actually in my safety portion for about 3 months. And I've learned a lot about safety just by having that one person who's willing to pass down knowledge and being able to identify hazards and stuff. Because I always care deeply about people and making sure people is making it home safely. Because in construction, there's a lot of dangerous tools you use. There's a lot of materials. So being able to just walk on site and being able to identify hazards and see if something's not safe, making sure everyone's wearing their PPE and stuff. And I learned a lot about that, and I definitely feel more confident just being on site and being able to identify those things. And I'm now also a fall protection competent person, so just being able to have people me just being eager to learn and they're just eager to teach me, it's definitely makes me feel better as a person, makes me feel more confident, smarter, and it makes me just want to show up more and just be able to learn. So.
Yeah, and I think that really gets at the heart of apprenticeship, which it's about on-the-job learning that you're then pairing with the stuff that you're learning in the classroom or with Damien. It's that applied learning that makes it really stick, right? For these, I think, more traditional workforce development methods for a construction management position, you're learning and then you do an internship. You go to school and then you get employed. When you get employed, you may not have spent much time on construction job sites at all. Through the apprenticeship model, you're doing it at the same time. So you're learning something, you get to apply it the next day. It really, really sticks. And when we're talking about safety, that's important, right? We don't want, someone who is, unfamiliar with these hazards be responsible for for folks. So yeah, I really appreciate that. So I want to give you all a little bit of time to brag. I think for each of your programs, you all have like a special sauce, like what makes your apprenticeship practices special. And I would love for each of you to talk a little bit about that. You can give stories, you can give examples. And I might start with Felicia. You already spoke to this a little bit, but if you don't mind just speaking a little bit more about, you know, what do you do that's different and what might be an actionable practice that somebody in this room could, you know, put in place?
What I do that's different, that I think that is very unique, is I provide a mirror. So you can look at yourself, you can look at me, and you can see the potential and where there's no limit. And that is a lot of what I stress to my apprentices in the field. I'm not asking you to do anything that I haven't done. I've walked it, I've talked it, I got the cuts and the scars and the bruises. And I'm on the other side, so you don't have to cap yourself and think that you can just be a field person. There is no limit to where this can go based on what you want. So if you want to be in the industry, like this young lady down here, but not necessarily in the field, that's possible. And it's definitely possible with a growing company like Eagle Eye. So I make that room and I make that available for individuals by being a mirror. And the other thing is, I'm often reminded, I remind myself, I'm still in sort of an apprenticeship, right? Just on another side. So again, came through Building Futures, knew nothing about construction, didn't even know there was a proper way to hold a hammer. Learned what I could, went into the field, learned what I could, transferred that into a business. I'm a first-generation business owner in my family. Nobody handed this to me. I don't have a business degree, or I have a high school diploma. My only other certificate is an apprenticeship from Building Futures. So I've learned this all by just trial and error. Now I'm on this side. I'm an apprentice to all of you guys, right? The big businesses that are already doing the work. So I'm still learning. And it's important that businesses like myself are embraced, which I've been blessed to have some really good relationships. I think I've partnered with almost everyone in this room in some capacity. But I've had some good relationships and been able to be embraced. So I'm still, in a sense, in an apprenticeship on the business, learning this business side. So being available, letting folks know that you're not capped at just being a field person, that there is plenty of potential and plenty of opportunities for growth in the industry. And just leading by example. That's what I can say.
It's always so difficult to follow Venetia. It's an inspirational story. And Gilbane's secret sauce is really partnership, engagement, and fostering, right? Where we are that bigger company now, we weren't in 1870. And so now it's about investing back and providing those access points. We don't just do it with Building Futures. You know, we have partners and we are engaged in and around Rhode Island to make sure that we can help grow smaller businesses like Eagle Eye to be super successful. The stories that Venetia tells me of how she's taken her business to the next level and continues to grow. We have Jomar Painting here in the room, who's obviously Jose has taken his business from a small But all Gilbane has to do is provide access. It's as simple as that. We have to make that commitment and make sure that we hold each other's feet to the fire to allow apprentices on our job sites and to allow small businesses to be on our job sites that then hire, as Venetia just said, apprentices that come through Building Futures. So for us, it's very simple. And my challenge to you all is just to say this isn't difficult. It's just a commitment you have to make. I give kudos to our other advisory council members at Brown University who have made this same commitment and invested in allowing for more apprentices on their jobs in and around the city, and then also supporting Building Futures in and around the state. But again, it's just because they stepped up. Well, I'm just asking my other CMs that are in this room today to step up, work with your partners at the awesome subcontractor firms that we have here, to allow them that ability to know that you will hold their feet to the fire. We put it in our contracts that you must have 15%. There's actually a penalty if you don't make it. The money doesn't come to Gilbane, the penalty money would go back to Building Futures. We've only ever had to do it once. But because people know that we're serious, they know that they come onto our job sites that we will have apprentices there. And again, foster it, give them the access, and then hold their feet to the fire and be accountable.
Thank you, Mike. Mary, special sauce.
What is our special sauce? Our special sauce is we care. We just care. We meet people where they are, okay? We don't expect anybody to come in with any knowledge. We don't read people's minds, okay? And at the end of the day, because we simply care, we meet people where they are, it makes people feel comfortable. And it goes back to going and building a culture where people feel valued and they want to put the work in. I can tell you from a personal perspective that when our employees walk through the door, because much like Dimeo, we also use our an internship program. We've been over 3 years. People want to work with us because we simply care. And I can't stress that enough. I think you can have all the numbers in the world. I think you can have all of the great data that you need, but at the end of the day, you work with people. People have hearts. People are messy. So understand that just because maybe somebody went ahead and messed up once, it's not the end of the world. Maybe it cost you $10,000. It happens, right? But at the end of the day, is that $10,000 really worth it when you're on a multi-million-dollar project, or is it more worth that person to understand the mistake that they made, how they could have fixed that mistake in the future, telling you it's okay, we care about you, we want to see you be successful. Next time, this is what success looks like, right? And I think just having that belief and faith in people goes a long way. I'm the daughter of a pipe fitter, a wife of an electrician. I'm not a surveyor, but I feel so strongly about the next generation and so strongly about caring and bringing that to the team. And I'm thankful because like Bob and Dan and the rest of the folks out there, they care just as passionately as I do. So I think that's our special sauce.
Damien, could you talk a little bit about what do you think is unique about Dimeo's apprenticeship program? Like what's a practice that you all have that's really made it count?
I feel like with Dimeo, so I definitely, before I started Dimeo, I was actually part-time with another company in Boston. And like I did an apprenticeship program with them, but I feel like with them, like they said it was an apprenticeship, but when I got in, they expected me to know everything. And I never did construction before, you know, this is something I wanted to pursue and wanted to learn. And I feel like they didn't like give me enough grace or give me enough knowledge for me to take, you know, for me to learn. And for me to apply those things, they just expected me to just know it all. And then when I messed up, they wasn't willing to teach me. And so it didn't work out for me. But once I found Dimeo, I feel like Dimeo, their approach came as in, you don't have to know anything at all. We're here to teach you. You can mess up and we'll help you fix it. It's not the end of the world. And I feel like that made me more confident. And they trust you with things, even if you never did it before. So that just helped me build a confidence, like, oh, okay, so now I'm gonna have to show you guys I can do it, you know? So it definitely makes me feel good. And I feel like the company is very unique and very different. And I see myself with them for a long time. And I really appreciate them all for teaching me a lot.
Yeah, I think part of that is we are looking for and recruiting, you know, the best and the brightest from our partnerships like Building Futures, Youth Build, to get individuals like Ayani here that has a drive to learn, they have a drive to better themselves and develop a career for the rest of their lives and hopefully stay with them here for the rest of their lives. And our approach is to, doesn't matter as long as they have, you know, willingness to learn, they don't even know anything about the industry. It helps if they have a car, they show up on time, right, Ani? And we partner them up on our project, so it's on-the-job training. So when she's learning about a task for a superintendent, she's out being mentored by a superintendent on the field, being given responsibilities, being given tasks that she needs to complete good enough. Same thing with learning about project management, that side of things. learning about safety, learning about the VDC department, so that at the end of the 3 years and they graduate the program, they have a choice now. They can go into safety department, where I think Diane's leaning towards, or they can go the superintendent route, or the project management route, or, you know, if there's a space available in the excavation department. So we're showing them all the parts and all the phases of construction, so that they then can choose where, you know, what direction they want their career to go in when they complete the program.
Amazing, thank you all so much. So we're coming to the end here, and I want to ask you all, and we'll just go kind of straight down the line, what is next for you all in terms of apprenticeship? What's next for your company? Or do you want to make a challenge to the industry? Where do we need to see apprenticeship go in our broader state? Sky's the limit, as Alicia said, so start with you, Damien.
Sure. As I mentioned in my introduction, we are growing our apprenticeship program. We've now started it down in Connecticut, so we're just looking to grow the numbers. Currently, we have 5 apprentices within our program across all 3 states, and we're looking to grow that. And really, as I say, it's on-the-job training, so we need more work. Give Dimeo Construction more projects. We'll have more. We'll have more apprentices.
No competition.
Yeah, no competition. And that's where we see it for the next few years. We're still a young program. It's been only 4 years since the program was started. We had our first 2 graduates. Later this summer we'll have at least 3 more graduates of the program. And we just got to continue bringing more and more folks in. And again, the more work we have, the more apprentices we can bring on board. That's where we're our focus.
For me, I want to see more women in the trades and more girls my age. Show up every day and show them if I can do it, you definitely can do it too, because at one point I never thought I can. So I want to just show up every day and advocate for more women and youth in the trades, and just being able to be willing to learn, always be open, always ask questions, don't think any questions dumb. And that's why I do the work that I do, working with youth, to show them like if I can do it, they're capable too. So I definitely would like to see more women in the trade, because we're capable too.
So I think I love that, I really do. I'm like really, really proud of you that you've come up here and how much you've grown as a person. I met you 5 minutes ago right before this, so I'm so proud of her. I think for us it's education. It comes down to education. All of you about survey and why we're so important and why it's really important to get the right individuals to partner with you. Also, I think for us culturally, we need to step up our game and bring in more individuals. We're very young, we're just 6 months on in. So we're almost there. We're working on bringing a couple more folks on into the mix, but I think ultimately we really want to partner with contractors who care, who want to see people grow, who want to pass down knowledge, and ultimately, let's be self-serving here. Hire us.
Yep.
If you need survey done, we have apprentices that can help you out, and we want to partner with you. So.
For Gilbane, I've already laid out the challenge, so you all heard it. And our growth is actually to do something very similar to what Damien and Dimeo are doing, and to continue to look to foster apprenticeship into Gilbane. And we're working with Amy right now to kick that off, as she's already hit me up a couple times. So, I'm going to step up to the challenge. I'm hoping others here in the room will. We can get this 15% to be the minimum, really get to 20, 30%. That would be pretty amazing to see this workforce continue to grow.
And for me, the future looks like expansion, which we've currently started doing. We've just gotten into temp toilet service, dumpsters, fencing, equipment. Our NACE codes are changing, so you can get credit for those things as well. And thank you, Marie, for bringing up apprenticeship. I'll be taking you up on that, so we may be getting into surveying as well. So I'm just looking to expand my scope and again provide more opportunities, so that we're not just doing final cleanup, and we're also helping you guys out with your participation requirements, apprenticeship requirements, etc. So I'm going to piggyback off of what everyone else said. Give Eagle Eye more jobs. So we can continue to scale up and continue to refresh.
Thank you all so much. Let's have a huge round of applause for our amazing. So we do have a little bit more time for Q&A, so I'm going to ask Andrew Cortez to come back up here and facilitate this question and answer period. Please ask them easy questions, tough questions, all are fair game. Claire up here is going to be running around with a mic, so just raise your hand if you have a question.
All right, great, thank you. You can see that there's some real expertise up here on the panel, so one more round of applause for the panel. You know, there's not only expertise on the panel, just before we get into it, I hope you stay even after the question and answer and network a little bit, because there's a lot of expertise in the room. How many people are here from a trade union? Okay, how many people are a signatory contractor to a trade union? Okay, so the system that both Venetia and I came up under is the joint apprenticeship system. These guys have had the gold standard of apprenticeship for a lot of years. Please feel free to ask them questions. Just a quick little point of fact though. So maybe roughly 500 programs in the state of Rhode Island. There's 16 building trades unions. Do that math. The vast majority are sponsored by a single employer. And you also can sponsor a program with a group of employers. So, just wanted to mention that because there's a lot of people in this room. If you happen to be the regional director of the Federal Office of Apprenticeship for the U.S. Department of Labor, are you in the room? Oh, yeah, that's Bernie Trembles right here as well. A lot of expertise in this room. One quick editorial, Ayani, I love the fact that you wanted to bring more women into the trades. In partnership with Brown University, and I see Jay Sisson here, we'll be making an announcement on May 8th around some really exciting work there, so stay tuned everybody. Lots of good work around women in the trades coming up. So, with that being said, tell me what burning questions were on your mind. Okay, go for it.
Hi everyone, my name is Paul Connors. I'm an organizer with the Sheet Metal Workers in Local 17. One of the questions that I have for you guys, and I know it's a big problem that we're facing in Boston. Technical schools, we are heading on big time and trying to get kids to join unions outside once they're graduating. Obviously college is a big step, and it's a choice that they're making. You want to be an architect, you want to be up there. If not, the choice to come into the union is becoming very popular. It's more difficult now getting into tech schools. So what are the steps that you're trying to take to reach out to not only tech schools now, to public schools, to private schools? These kids, when they get out, don't have the opportunities like everybody else. They might not have had a chance to get into a technical school, but now you have kids in private schools, kids in public schools that didn't get into the tech schools that want to get into the construction field. I guess that's my question. What are the steps you're taking with that?
So at Dimeo, as part of our outreach program, no matter what area we're working in, whether it's Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, we do a lot of outreach where, when invited, one of us will go in, typically me or maybe Chrissy, we'll go into middle schools, high schools that are not tech, and we'll give presentations on all the careers in construction, just not swinging a hammer, running around with a screw gun, but architectural, engineering, graphic design, being an electrician, being an elevator mechanic, being a drywall, carpenter, working as a laborer. We give them the full presentation of all the different options and give them the resources available through the AGC, through Youth Build, on where they can find out more information about all the different trades and how to get into the trades. So we're starting to start that as early as middle school now. We also, every year, we partner up with Junior Achievement here in Rhode Island, and we have a huge booth right in the middle of the convention center where every 8th grader, or almost every 8th grader in Rhode Island comes through, and we present to them, again, all the careers. We send them over all to all the tables of the trades. Again, it's about just informing people, letting people know all the availabilities of. A lot of times, a lot of little kids, and even high school kids, when they graduated, they think construction was being a carpenter, because that's usually what jumps to their mind, really, or drive around an excavator. So kind of just broadening that scope of what's actually available in the industry. It's kind of what we're going at right now.
Looks like, Mike, you wanted to chime in on that? All right, just checking.
I can't agree more with you. It really does start young. So I wish when I was younger, when I went to vocational school, that they did present all those different options, because I think kids need to see the full spectrum. I think also too, for us over at Degree Engineering, what we're doing really is, we just had a group of students come in yesterday. We try to make it super easy. That's the other thing I would say, is make it easy for the schools. Don't make it difficult for them to come on and send an email when you come in. Great, no problem. Kids just want to see what's going on. That's what they care about. If you have things that they can touch and feel, they love that as well too. If you get people curious and you get them curious at a young age, it really, you can see the fruits of the labor that come through. We have 9th graders going into 12th graders going to college that are calling us, knowing and like, oh, you came to my school, you know, I want to hear more. So that's kind of approach that we're taking along with Demio.
Anyone else on that question? Just a quick comment, here's another piece. Once you build the apprenticeship program, now you have the ability to draw from whoever the source is. You might even want to build a pre-apprenticeship program with a community partner who could prepare people exactly the way you need them to be. That's what Building Futures did. We've put almost 500 people into 16 different trade apprenticeship programs as a result. Great strategy for you in community relations. But what other questions are really burning for folks when you're listening to this great panel?
Hold on, Andrew.
I'm sorry, yeah. When you spoke on the community, engaging with community organizations, that's actually something that I do. I work with the program Foster Forward. They work with aged out foster youth who have aged out of the system and are looking for opportunities. So I often get contacted from them and say, hey, we have a young person that's interested in the trades, would you take them? I'll bring them in on smaller jobs just to see if they're ready, just to see if they have basic job skills, right? Know how to show up on time, can listen, can follow direction, and if they work out really well, then I'll try to get them a spot on the union side, and that's actually how I got Richard, who ran the Johnston project for me. He came in on my other side, and I ran him through there to see if he had the training and skills, and he worked out really well. So.
Excellent. No wonder I take advice from her as my boss, right? No question about it. What else came up for folks? Any burning questions?
I have one question.
Yes, Mr. Sisson.
Jason, we have arrived at a 50% threshold. I have two questions. One is, how do we choose that 15% threshold? And then how do we expand on that? What are the steps that we need to take to increase that level of experience and opportunity and goal-oriented direction for these kids that are coming in? My parallel question is how do we deal with people that get in the program, are reasonably successful, create a position, and then have a problem? How do we get them back in the process? At Brown, we have experienced a great deal of success as it relates to kids who come in, boys, girls, men, women, whatever, and we've been involved with Building Futures from the get. My colleagues at Brown have been on the board. I'm now on the board. It seems to me that we need to really collectively, with all the skill and talent in this room, be able to expand that percentage and get those thresholds higher so it gives more opportunity for people that want to get into the trade. So when you answer those.
I'm very tempted to take the first answer. Mike, you want me to go first?
I would actually put you on the spot after to answer those questions.
So the commitment from Brown University is incredible. They came up with 15% because it's allowable in collective bargaining, but sometimes contractors, oddly, feel like they might be at a disadvantage if they employ an apprentice, whereas everybody else has a skilled journey worker who's already mastered their craft. Brown took the smart approach, just as Gilbane did, and said, you know what, long term, we're going to be building Brown forever. If we don't have the skilled labor we need as journey workers now, right, our costs are going to increase going forward. Unless every contractor equally participates in apprenticeship, we're not going to solve the problem. And by doing that, you actually equalize the playing field. No contractor bidding at Brown or at Gilbane is at a disadvantage for carrying 15% apprentice labor hours in their bid. That helps. How do we expand it? Maximize what's allowable under collective bargaining, if it's in a union environment, and if it's in a non-union environment, maximize the ratio that's allowable by law. There are not enough active apprentices in training now to meet future demand, regardless of where things seem to be today. I will say, it's pretty scary. I look at all the statistics, all the boring math stuff, even though I feel fuzzy in my heart, I swear. But when I look at it, the only demographic in construction sector that is growing is 55 plus. Repeat, 18 to 34 is still declining, 55 plus is still growing. Apprenticeship needs to happen at a higher rate now. So in terms of how we expand, let's maximize what we're allowed to do. In terms of what contractors and project owners can do, be like Brown, be like Gilbane. Say, you know what, I'm taking control of this situation because it's a business decision for me later. I need to control my costs. So that's my short answer. Anyone else in the panel like to jump in on this one? All right. What else? Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Hi. I'm curious about what has the experience been for you guys on the teaching side, because teaching itself is a skill, and so to take in an apprentice is like a great thing, but also how do you prepare your own staff, especially like it is also like, again, it is hard, it's great, it's possible to become an expert in something. It's another thing to teach it and to pass on that knowledge. So how do you prepare people to do that work?
You are not wrong, and I'm tempted to answer too, but please, let me turn it over to
So I'm
him
gonna
first.
have to defer to, because I have to have him, he's the person who can answer your question for you. And I really wanna highlight him for a second, because goes back to caring. But Dan, if you had to say what it is, what is it? Like how, can you answer Selena, right? Celine's question?
So going back to caring about the job is huge. Because if you don't care, you're not going to be willing to take the time to actually put in the work and get the correct job done for your client. Training the younger generation is huge because you want to be able to go to the job that they've been working on and have the same aspect that you would go and do the job. Caring is huge because the younger generation needs to learn all this stuff now, not later. You have to give them the time to be able to grow. Willing to teach them is going to make your company grow as well. So you need to take the time to teach the younger generation the proper ways to do the job and the skills so that they can continue in the future.
Oh, thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dan. He's one of our trainers, and I told him, I said, be prepared. Be prepared.
That was wise, and it's great advice. Please stay afterwards and chat and network. Plenty of thoughts on that myself. As a carpenter, I love teaching apprentices because it helped me hone my own craft. When you have to articulate and explain why you do something, it helps you get better too. And on a systemic level, please talk to Building Futures staff because we have resources available for mentor training to help people who might be incredibly skilled in their occupation but have not worked with an apprentice be better at that work. So there's lots of ways to approach that problem. And I think we have time for one more question. If anyone has one, there we go.
Sure. Next week we're all on the heels of Safety Week next week for all of us, and having a high standard of safety is a competitive advantage. So my question is, I hear a lot about safety and culture. What are some techniques to make an apprentice feel safe, someone in the office feel safe? That's really where you get the growth out of someone, is creating a sense of safety.
That's a great question. Who would like to take it?
I feel like, I'm sorry, can you repeat your question?
Just what have you seen some effective ways of creating a sense of safety, whether it be an apprentice or someone at the office or any individuals in our industry?
I feel like no judging and just make a safe space for someone to come to you and talk to you about things and to just make them feel comfortable, you know, and just ask them, hey, are you okay today? Like, you know, because some things could be bothering to people. So just asking them questions about how their day is going, little things like that. And I feel like that creates a safe space and just a judgment-free zone. And just, you know, smiling too also creates a safe space. So showing up to work happy and showing up to work and just being willing to just make them open up to you. I feel like that's what creates a safe space for me.
That's an incredible way to end this panel discussion because that brings home the point. 1937, I just made this point at the State Apprenticeship Council meeting the other day. 1937, the apprenticeship system was created not to promote apprenticeship. Everybody uses apprenticeship. It was created to promote and protect the welfare and safety of the apprentice. This system is a worker-positive way to help people develop their skills, and it's worth expanding because the results speak for themselves. So one more time, round of applause for our panel. Please feel free to stay, network if you can. If not, we take no offense and we'll find you later.